if you look at us as a business, we were always sort of looking at sort of the tier one projects, if you can call them that, or the bigger five-star resorts, bigger shopping centres, hospitals, office towers like ICD Brookfield Tower. So all the tier one type of projects. And we saw that in the market there weren't as many tenders going for tier one projects. Still there was size there and there were projects here and there, but the tenders weren't as frequent as it was before. So that coupled with the barrier to entry, which we spoke about, sort of subsiding and fading, and then basically opening up for a lot of companies that we didn't used to have to compete with. And I think it was driven from obviously clients finding it hard selling what they were developing at a certain rate. Okay, there's more competition, if you can call it that, because that barrier to entry, clients weren't looking at tier one contractors only, they were looking at tier twos and in some places tier three. So you have a pool of 18 or 15 different contractors that you'd compete with, where that didn't exist before. Previously on a specific type of project, there'd be 4 or 5 different equal leveled contractors with the experience, and you'd all fight for the project, and if you were successful for whatever reason, whether it was program or price, it was within that band. But now I think clients had to do what they had to do, and so the market just opened up to everybody. We saw for a short time, we were thinking, okay, this is temporary, and 6 months later, sort of still the same or getting worse. 6 months later, sort of still getting worse. So we devised a plan of action for the company. It was, like I was saying for you, it was a matter of long-term survival that we were looking for. So we devised a plan, and it was threefold. It was one, okay, get efficient within the company. That was the first thing, get efficient. Use less to do more. That was one. A healthy downsize. And keep winning projects with some of our key clients. I mean, the market for us did sort of shrink, and the competition expanded. So we still had a few key clients that were doing projects that were feasible, and they wanted our value add still on the project. So we and you can see from the last 24 months, those types of projects. Plan number 2 was expand outside of the GC, outside of the UAE, which was always in the works. So Saudi Arabia was a key focus. We were developing some alliances in Saudi Arabia. We still have those alliances in Saudi Arabia, and certain clients that want to do business with us over there, international clients. Everything sort of went on hold for that because of COVID, and everything's starting to, come out of hold at the moment with that. So we see ourselves moving into Saudi probably back end of Q1, Q2. Plan number 3 was to find different segments of the market here, and this happened probably more than a year ago, this focus, that valued our value add. Valued in terms of want to pay for. I think all our previous clients valued our value add, but we wanted to look at sort of the segments of the market that were still wanting that level. So we looked at oil and gas, and we've been successful in oil and gas, but unfortunately that segment of the market is not doing as well as it was when we started to look at it, but it's going to pick up. We know it's going to pick up. So oil and gas is a good industry. Infrastructure is also a very good industry, certain key infrastructures, and obviously utility buildings. So anything that sort of specializes in MEP, we were looking at, district cooling to substations to utility buildings. obviously we focused in hard on the data center market, because abroad the data center market is booming, and over here it's also booming and starting to boom. A lot of money is being spent into data centers and AI and all things tech, and it's the right move. You know, even the UAE over here is strongly pursuing tech and AI and all things sort of telecommunications. So it really makes sense. It really made sense to us to move into that field. Now, when we started to move in that field, it took a while for the industry to notice what we can do and what we have done in the past, because we have worked on data centers in the past, but they were always part of a bigger project, a data center for a bank, a data center for developer 1, 2, 3. So just focusing on data centers in that field took a while, but now we can't share what we've been successful with, but we are successful in that field. What that also meant, if you look at all those projects that I just mentioned, types of projects, is they're all MEP heavy. So a lot of them are 70% electromechanical, or more than 50% in some, but mostly 70% electromechanical works, and 30% civil structural. And the civil structural is not as difficult as an office tower, a 60-story office tower with 7 basements, or a shopping center with 2 basements. These are a lot easier civil structurals. They're very fast, they're usually steel. So we saw ourselves in thinking, okay, why are these projects going to a main contractor? If you think feasibility, why are these projects going to a main contractor, typically civil, who would then subcontract it to the MEP? And the reason was that's what the market is used to. So we wanted to push ourselves into the main contracting field. And we'd done that a long time ago here in the UAE. We'd done a project with a main contractor, and we'd seen that it worked. And so we pushed again for a few projects. We've got now a utility project with a main contractor, and also data center projects with a main contractor, and we're looking at others at the moment. Those projects are again focused on MEP, 70–80% MEP, and 30–20% civil. We found that working with clients directly on these projects made sense, because we have a direct line of communication now. We were able to, especially on the projects where they were MEP led, we're able to sort issues out very quickly, and one-to-one with the client. That being said, we're still working on, various what we call typical construction projects with an array of tier 1 main contractors that we would work with day in, day out. Just right now, we're looking at spreading our risk. So if we are working with main contractors, maybe in the past you would have seen on our CV, we would have 8 projects, 6 of them would be with one main contractor. Now we'd have 8 projects with 4 or 5 different main contractors, all tier 1s. Our core competency is engineering, and we sort of value engineering in all the processes of construction. So right from the tendering to procurement to engineering to assisting the construction to testing and commissioning, handover and post-handover, our engineering team and our team within the company all have this engineering focus. And the reason why we have that is we've decided to keep that, is because we stemmed from being a purely design and build company. So when we started 11 years ago, the market was full of very good MEP contractors with a massive resource, and they were sort of pooling jobs together. There was 5 or 6 big players, and they would win the majority of all the nice projects. So as JLW starting in the Middle East, we wanted to sort of bring in a niche, and we thought that the niche is bringing in design and build. Because we stemmed from a design and build, we started to convert different projects, developers to design and build, and just saying, look, let us take the responsibility of the design and let us finish your concept off with you, and then deliver the end product, and sometimes even operate for them, doing MEP, operation and maintenance. So that's how we started 11 years ago. And for the first 5 years, you would see that the majority, maybe 80% of our projects were design and build. We decided to keep that core, because if you have that type of organization, you've got that type of mindset across all departments, including, every department will have that engineering, design and build, proactive, not reactive when it comes to engineering process. So when we started to sort of endeavor on the bigger construct-only projects, we kept that mindset, and what it allowed us to do is push that envelope with using technology. So the technology is out there. I think this construction industry doesn't use technology as well as other industries. We're a little bit behind, but that's just the nature of the business. Construction hasn't changed that much in terms of processes than in the last 10 years, for example. But what we do internally is we use technology as much as possible, and what that's allowed us to be is a company that now prefabricates 60% if we can within a job. We look at a job and we try to prefabricate as much as we can off site, and that's using our engineering. We use the latest robotics and technology and modeling to make sure that we do things efficiently on site. So these are the types of things we like to push in the company, and we wanted to keep pushing in the company. But for us to be able to keep pushing that in the company, we have to find the client base that wants that value add. And that's basically where we shifted our focus to areas in the construction segment that at the moment will value that value add, and hopefully in the medium to long term, I'm sure the construction industry will come back.